No matter what state you live in, casting a vote is a big deal, especially for the first time when you actually get to take part in the democratic process and have a say in who represents you. But in most states, including New Hampshire and Massachusetts, you have to be at least 18 on primary day to cast a ballot. Connecticut, Maine, and Vermont are at least a little more enlightened, letting 17-year-olds vote in a primary if they'll be 18 by the time the general election rolls around. But I say we should take things a step further and lower the voting age to 16 nationwide. As I've said many times, it's time to call BS on this tired old argument that 16 and 17-year-olds are less informed than older voters. Over the last few years, it's been teens who've been organizing protests and marches in unprecedented numbers across the country, from gun violence to clean water access to climate change. So why not give them a chance in the voting booth? At least one presidential candidate, Andrew Yang, is on board with the idea too.
If you can get someone to vote younger, then it actually ends up establishing a lifelong pattern of voting very, very quickly and early. And it would also transform our high schools into hotbeds of actual democracy. And it would also help represent the interests of young people in our democracy because they're going to be on this planet longer.
They certainly couldn't do worse than the adults whose votes have brought us many deficit exploding, inequality expanding, hyper-partisan politicians. Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley recognized the value of younger voters, too, when she proposed an amendment to a larger House voting rights bill that would have lowered the age to 16 in all federal elections. Unfortunately, that amendment failed. But all hope is not lost just yet. Here in Massachusetts, a bill that would let 16 and 17-year-olds vote in local elections is up for consideration now in Beacon Hill. It follows in the footsteps of a legendary city councilor who proposed a similar measure in Cambridge in 2000. That would be me. But in this statewide proposal, cities and towns themselves would have the power to decide if they want their young people involved. It's a start. One of the co-sponsors, Representative Andy Vargas, joined me a couple of months ago to debate the issue. He explained why the change is sorely needed.
I think the bottom line is, one, 16-year-olds can drive, they're participating in our workforce, they're part of our labor market, and on top of that, they're inheriting an economy that is crippling them.
Exactly. So if you're not convinced by now that those teens in New Hampshire or Parkland, Florida, or Flint, Michigan, or here are ready for the responsibility, I don't know why you think any adult or even the president himself is ready either.